Hello everyone, welcome back to our Accounting 210. In this video, we will talk about Chapter 8, Relevant Cost for Short-Term Decisions. So before we talk about this chapter, I want to share some of my personal feeling for this chapter with you and give you some example. First, I want to say this chapter is also one of my favorite chapters. Many reasons, for me, I feel that first reason is um, it makes a lot of sense, and then it also very useful for our daily life. And then the next reason is for the calculation, it's not so fancy. As I said, chapter 7 for CVP analysis, I like it also for the same reasons. This chapter, I like it too. Honestly, the first few chapters, I like the concept. I think like for the manufacturing overhead allocation is a good concept. But personally, I don't really have a lot of experience. I have never worked in the manufacturing department. So if I cannot visualize the concept, um, it really kind of not easy for me to get it 100%. And then after chapter 8, we will talk about chapter 9, 10, 11. I think those three chapters are a small group, like chapter 2, 3, 4, those are small group. And then 9, 10, 11 is another small group. We will talk about the standard costing. That's also big topic there. After that, then we will have chapter 12. Then we are done, So, we are almost halfway. Just hang there with me, keep working really hard and then do a good job in the exam and all the assignment. There are um, seven learning objectives. I think we will just talk about this. We will not even cover this one. So we will only have that. And then we don't talk about the second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we only have 5 topics. The first topic gives us the general idea. And then the next 4 topics, basically just there are 4 scenarios. How do we apply this main concept in the business field? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, this video we just get the general idea. What's the meaning of relevant, right? So the keyword, if we talk about chapter 8, the keyword is relevant. So how do managers make decisions? How do we make decisions, right? I kind of ask you why you chose me as your professor. How did you make decisions? Why you chose your major, why you decided to buy McDonald's instead of Starbucks. We make decisions every day. Remember at the beginning of this class, I said, you don't do journal entry every day, but you make decisions every day. Should I watch her video today? Should I go outside to work out? Should I sleep? You make decisions every day. So how do managers, they make decisions? First, they need to find the goal, right? They need to say, hey, our goal is we want to have the profit, this, blah, blah, blah. And then they find the alternative of actions. We can do this or we can do this. We can either keep our product or we outsource, right? We either do this or we do that. And then we gather all the information, if we do this, we will keep this, we will have all this number. If we outsource, we have this number. We choose the best alternative, and then we implement our decision. So if we outsource, we need to, find the country, find the supplier, we need to just start working on it. And then at the end, we follow up, we compare our actual with our plan. So that's what will be covered in chapter 9, 10, 11. Okay, we kind of cover that part. And then we go back. So what's the general idea is, we most likely when we do something, when we decided to make a decision, there are always 2 alternatives, right? So either you do this or you do not do this. Okay, so either you buy McDonald's or you don't buy McDonald's. Either you take Professor So as your professor or you don't take her as your professor. Either you get up or you don't get up. So we always have at least 2 alternatives for one specific item. And then we need to compare those 2 alternatives to find out, hey, what our total decision should be, what our final decision should be. before we do that, we need to make sure we only use relevant information. We only use relevant information. So if I ask you, what's the meaning of relevant? What's the meaning of being relevant? How do you explain that word to me? And for me, I always just Google. So let's say relevant. Okay, let's say relevant means closely connected or blah blah blah. This, Okay, so that's the meaning of relevant, but it seems doesn't really help me for our chapter to be relevant. I'll give you some example. Okay, let me see. Let me give you some example. I can explain this word better than Google. Okay, so let me get. Okay, so let's say relevant. Okay, okay. Let me think about it. It's almost the lunchtime, so I'm thinking about should I buy McDonald's? Okay, should I buy McDonald's or I don't buy McDonald's, right? If I don't buy McDonald's, most likely I'm buying Starbucks. Just to see Starbucks. Okay, Starbucks. Okay, so either I do this or I don't do this, right? So now I need to make the decision. Should I buy McDonald's or should I don't buy McDonald's? In this situation, don't buy McDonald's, I just buy Starbucks. So I have two choices, right? I have two choices. I need to make the decision. How do you make a decision? First thing, the factor you may think is the price, right? So let's just make a assumption. McDonald's, they have dollar menu. So I think, hey, for McDonald's, I just eat $2. That will be enough. But Starbucks, kind of more expensive. So I need to spend $5. Okay, so now you can say this information, the price is relevant, yes or no. The price is relevant, yes or no. It is relevant because McDonald's only cost $2. Starbucks cost me $5. So there is something called a difference, right? So we can see they are not the same. There is difference. So the difference is a $3 difference. Okay, so this one should be relevant. Okay, next factor I need to think is how about the driving distance? Okay, the distance. Let's say I need to drive there, right? I can let them deliver, but it's too expensive. So I drive there from my place to McDonald's is 2 miles. Okay, 2 miles. From my place to Starbucks is also 2 miles. Hey, look at this. Look at this. From my place to McDonald's is 2 miles. The distance is 2 miles. The distance to Starbucks is also 2 miles. Is there any difference? Yes or no? The difference is 0 because they are both 2 miles. You tell me this information is relevant or not. It is not relevant because no matter you go to Starbucks or you go to McDonald's, you have to drive 2 miles. There is no difference. Okay, we keep going, keep thinking about this. Okay, how about the flavor? Okay, how about the flavor? Okay, just think about flavor. If you want to give it a score, right? Flavor. But if you want to give it a score, let's say McDonald's, the flavor. If I say hey, the flavor is okay, I just say okay, right? I say okay, but Starbucks is good. Okay, so I just say Starbucks is good. Okay, then you can also see there is a difference, right? I don't really know how do I quantize it, quantize it, right? I don't know, but I know this information, right? This information is also relevant because McDonald's is okay, Starbucks is good. So there is a difference. When I make a decision, I want to think about, hey, I want to just okay, or I want to have good flavor. Okay, so now you have all these 3 items to think. Price is the dollar amount, is the quantity, right? Quantity factor. Distance not relevant because it's the same. And the flavor is quality item, qualitative. You also need to put that in consideration. So finally, our decision is we just say hey, McDonald's is a $2 plus okay. Starbucks is $5 plus good kind of. So finally, I found out that I'm too poor, right? So although it's just okay, I just take this. So this is how I make decision. You do not realize it, but ask your parents ask you, hey, you go to McDonald's, Starbucks. You say, I go to McDonald's. Within that 1 second, you are so smart. Can you imagine? You are so smart. Your brain already analyzed all these items and made the final decision is, okay, I go with McDonald's because price is cheaper and the flavor is okay, acceptable. Okay, so now this is how you make a decision. You make decisions every day. So what is relevant? Price is relevant, distance not relevant, flavor is relevant. So to be relevant, you have to have two criteria. First is makes a difference. That's what we just discussed. You have to have a difference. If those two things are the same, then that's not relevant. This is very, 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 very important in our chapter. Because when we talk about different scenario, the fixed cost, okay, most of the time it's the same. No matter you buy or you make or blah blah, the fixed cost most likely they are the same. So that will not be relevant. If it's not relevant, we do not put in our decision making. Okay, so relevant has to make a difference. And also happens in the future. Okay, so let's talk about happens in the future. We talk about makes difference. What's the meaning of happens in the future? I always tell my students, an example is one day I bought, really spent $5 and bought a cup of Starbucks, and I put in my car. So when I drove the car to go home, I had like kind of a rush stop. I had a quick stop, and then the coffee just spilled on my and then just on the car. I cried, just regretted so much. Hey, why I drove so fast. I should have driven slower. No matter what, no matter how much I cry, how hard I cry, can I get my Starbucks back? Yes or no? No. That's the English. They always say, don't cry for what? Don't cry for spilled milk, right? Because no matter you cry, yes or no, it's already happened. You cannot take a time train and go back to change it. It already happened. Then it will not relevant. It's called water under the bridge, right? See, my English is so good. So it's already happened. If it's already happened, that is called as a sunk cost. It's already happened. You can never go back to the time it happened and make changes. So that will never be relevant. Things happen in the past will never relevant. The relevant information, only other information happens in the future. So what's already happened, just let it go. The sunk cost or historical cost, okay, the historical cost or sunk cost is always irrelevant because they do not happen in the future. That's what I say. Hey, you just finished your first exam. No matter you did well or you didn't do well, do not cry because that's the sunk cost. You cannot go back to change it. It will never be relevant. What is relevant is your next exam. Some students come to me and said, oh, professor, I feel so bad. Like I just broke up with my girlfriend. I had the feeling, I had the experience. You broke up with a girlfriend, a boyfriend. You spent 5 years, 10 years, whatever years, money, time, whatever. Doesn't matter. Those are already sunk costs. Once you broke up, it's not relevant. All you can do is, how can I move on to the next relationship? How can I move on to the next exam? How can I move on to the next chapter? Okay, so to be relevant, it has to have these two criteria. Makes difference and happens in the future. Makes a difference and happens in the future. So all the identical items, they are not relevant. All the sunk cost or all the historical cost, they are not relevant because they already happened. You cannot go back to make differences. Only the future things that makes a difference are relevant information. Okay, I think that's basically all I want to say. The first video give you some general idea and really, really understand the meaning of relevant, being relevant. I'm just telling you, if you understand this definition, you will get this chapter. All you need to do is ask yourself, hey, does this item relevant, yes or no? Does this item relevant, yes or no? Does this relevant, yes or no? And then you make your decision. Okay, so one more time, the two characteristics for the relevant information is happens in the future and makes a difference. Happens in the future and makes in the difference. You have to happens in the future. You have the future and makes a difference. So let's say if you accept something, the revenue is 100 million. If you reject, it's 75 million. So you can say 100 million is different from 75 million. So this information will be relevant. The sales revenue is relevant. If you buy Starbucks $2, if you buy McDonald's $2, buy Starbucks $5, relevant. The distance 2 mile not relevant because not different. And then things happens in the past not relevant. Okay, so I stop here and then we go to talk about different scenario in the next video. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. I see you next time.